सामीन, न्यूज अपडेट्स के साथ मैं हूं मुकर्रम अब्बास। सबसे पहले आज की हेडलाइंस पर एक नजर। बीजिंग में चीन, अफगानिस्तान और पाकिस्तान के वज़राए खारजा के माबैन मुज़ाकरात, मुसालहती अमल को फरोग देने पर इत्फाक। आज पाकिस्तान की साबिक वज़ीर आज़म मोहतरमा बेनज़ीर भुट्टो की 10वीं बरसी निहायत अक़ीदत व एहतराम से मनाई जा रही है। पाकिस्तान के कौमी एहतसाब ब्यूरो के चेयरमैन ने 435 पाकिस्तानियों की ऑफशोर कंपनियों के बारे में फौरी तहकीकात करने का हुक्म दिया है। मुफ्ता इस्माइल को वज़ीर आज़म का मुशीर बराए खजाना और इक़्तिसादी अमूर बनाने का नोटिफिकेशन जारी कर दिया गया। नाइजीरिया में शिद्दत पसंद तंजीम बोको हराम के हमलों में 4 अफराद हलाक हो गए और अफगानिस्तान से मुत्सिल पाकिस्तान के कबायली इलाके में अस्करियत पसंदों का हमला, 2 अफराद हलाक। और अब इन खबरों की तफसील। चीन के दारुल हुकूमत बीजिंग में चीन, पाकिस्तान और अफगानिस्तान के वज़राए खारजा के दरमियान सह अफ्रीकी मुज़ाकरात में तीनों ममालिक ने सियासी मुसालहती अमल को फरोग देने पर इत्फाक किया। सह अफ्रीकी मुशावरती इजलास से खिताब में वज़ीर खारजा ख्वाजा आसिफ का कहना था कि सह अफ्रीकी फोरम से अफगानिस्तान में पायदार अमन के लिए पुरउम्मीद है। इजलास से कबल बीजिंग में पाकिस्तान और चीन के वज़राए खारजा के दरमियान बाहिमी दिलचस्पी के अमूर और सी पैक मनसूबे पर भी तबादला ख्याल किया गया। आज पाकिस्तान की साबिक वज़ीर आज़म मोहतरमा बेनज़ीर भुट्टो शहीद की 10वीं बरसी निहायत अक़ीदत व एहतराम से मनाई जा रही है। शहीद बेनज़ीर भुट्टो की 10वीं बरसी के सिलसिला में घड़ी खुदा बख्श में मरकजी तकरीब की तैयारियां मुकम्मल कर ली गई हैं। कारकुनान और रहनुमाओं की आमद का सिलसिला जारी है। चेयरमैन पीपल्स पार्टी बिलावल भुट्टो जरदारी और आसफ अली जरदारी जलसे से खिताब करेंगे। पाकिस्तान और आजाद कश्मीर के तमाम छोटे बड़े शहरों में दुआया तकरीबात मुनक्किद हो रही हैं। मुकर्रीन बेनज़ीर भुट्टो की जिद्दोजहद पर खिराज तहसीन पेश कर रहे हैं। याद रहे कि मोहतरमा बेनज़ीर भुट्टो शहीद 27 दिसंबर 2007 की शाम को रावलपिंडी में लियाकत बाग में 27 कारकुनान के हमरा कत्ल कर दी गई थी। पाकिस्तान की कौमी एहतसाब ब्यूरो नैब के चेयरमैन ने इदारे को पनामा और ब्रिटिश वर्जन आइलैंड में कायम 435 पाकिस्तानियों की ऑफशोर कंपनियों के बारे में फौरी तौर पर तहकीकात करने का हुक्म जारी किया है। ख्याल रहे कि ये नाम गुज़श्ता बरस पानामा पेपर लीक्स में सामने आए थे, जब पानामा की कंपनी मोसिक फोनेसिका के 1 करोड़ से ज्यादा दस्तावेजात को अफशा कर दिया गया था। इन तफसीलात से जाहिर हुआ था कि ऑफशोर कंपनियों का कारोबार कैसे चलता है। हुकूमत पाकिस्तान ने मुफ्ता इस्माइल को वजीर आजम का मुशीर बराए खजाना और इक्तिसादी अमूर बनाने का नोटिफिकेशन जारी कर दिया है। माहिरीन का कहना है कि इस फैसले से माईशत को दरपेश मसाइल अच्छे तरीके से हल हो सकेंगे। जराये के मुताबिक मुशीर खजाना का ओहदा वफाकी वजीर खजाना के बराबर होगा। नाइजीरिया के शहर मेडुगुरी में बोको हराम के मुबैना हमले में 4 अफराद हलाक हुए हैं। याद रहे कि बोको हराम नाइजीरिया की एक शिद्दत पसंद तंजीम है जो गुज़श्ता चंद सालों से कत्लेआम में मुलव्वस है। माजी में बोको हराम के शिद्दत पसंद मसाजिद और गिरजाघरों पर भी हमला करते रहे हैं। अफगानिस्तान से मुत्सिल पाकिस्तान के कबायली इलाके करम एजेंसी के एक सरहदी कस्बे में अस्करियत पसंदों के एक मुबैना मरकज मुबैना तौर पर अस्करियत पसंद थे। सामीन, ये थी इस वक्त तक की अपडेट्स। मजीद अपडेट्स के साथ आपकी खिदमत में दोबारा हाजिर होंगे। तब तक के लिए अल्लाह हाफिज।
Local, national and international news. This is Salaam Radio. Broadcasting 24 hours a day, 360.
Assalamu alaikum and good evening. You are listening to Let's Talk, our weekly current affairs show with me, Akil Khalil. And tonight, my two hosts are Brother Muzaffar and Brother Amir.
Assalamu alaikum.
We are live on Salaam Radio 106.2 FM and Inspire FM in Luton. You can listen to us online at salamradio.co.uk. We are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. You can also find us on our social media outlets at Salaam Radio or via our Android and iOS apps. We're always on air, 24/7, 365, uniting all communities. Please get involved with your opinions tonight by calling us on 01733602133. I am told we have a technical issue tonight, so you may not be able to get through. So I would advise texting us or WhatsApping us on 07745 278 978. Assalamu alaikum, brothers.
Wa alaikum assalam.
How you doing?
Alhamdulillah.
Great pleasure to have you both here with me tonight.
Good to be here.
Thank you.
Have you had a good time? Good break from work?
Yeah, actually, apart from being a bit ill. But I can see you care.
No comment.
No, it's back to health, alhamdulillah. So it's all
No
good.
comment.
Yeah.
How are you, brother?
Yeah, alhamdulillah. I'm good.
Good. I can't believe 2017 is over.
Not yet.
Well, almost over.
Almost.
It's been a turbulent year
It has.
at best. And I want to give a special shout out to Brother Hamid, who's not here with us tonight. He's away on holiday, probably catching another suntan, and back with us in 2018, inshallah. I know he would have loved to have joined us for tonight's show. So tonight we'll be reviewing the news stories of 2017. Now, if there was something that really affected you in 2017, please do text us on 07745 278 978. So many stories to whittle through tonight. So we'll have the format is as follows. First part of the show we'll be talking about President Trump and the United States, a review of his presidency and its effect around the world. Later on we'll be discussing the 2017 terror attacks. Would you believe it, listeners? There's been 36 terror attacks up to the 21st of December this year so far. Utterly shocking. After that, we'll be discussing the elephant in the room, quite literally, for so many people, Brexit and the UK decision to leave the European Union, as well as all those major, stories and etc. that happen in the United Kingdom. And lastly, we'll have our expert in the room with us later on to discuss technology, all of the best gadgets of the year and all the new inventions, and also those cyber attacks that the NHS and other companies were affected by. We should get some good advice about that as well. So really looking forward to that cracking show. Stay with us. If you do have an opinion, like I said, please do text the show on 07745 278 978. So, brother, starting off with, certainly for me anyway, when the year started, we had 2016, there was this whole run-up to the American election.
Yeah.
The whole world, to a certain extent, was just enthused by what may or may not happen.
Right.
The American media didn't take President Trump seriously at all.
Nope.
I think potentially after he was elected by the Republican Party, they thought, okay, well, maybe. But, there were so many people dead cert thinking Hillary Clinton was going to win.
Yeah.
But lo and behold, on the 20th of January, Donald Trump was inaugurated as the 45th President of the United States of America and Mike Pence as the 48th Vice President. The world was in shock.
Absolutely.
And I think it'll be fair to say, I'm sure our listeners around the world would agree, the world is a different place since that inauguration.
What a difference a year makes.
Absolutely.
I mean, it is miraculous what's happened. But I think, the world was shocked. I think Donald Trump was shocked as well.
Oh, you could see that. You know when he was inaugurated?
Yeah.
You could see that when he was taking the oath of office.
Yeah. You
could see that he was nervous. He looked like, oh my God, is this actually happening?
Right.
Believe me, I was thinking the same.
It really was quite surreal. It was surreal.
Even now, sometimes when I look across the pond, I still can't believe some of the things that have happened. I'm sure we're gonna go through them.
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about what happened 7 days after his inauguration. I mean, he issued his first executive order, and that was to ban the travel to the United States for 7 mostly Muslim countries.
Yep.
And suspending, this is crucial, and suspending admission for refugees. I mean, a week in.
What do you think was his strategy behind doing that, such an impactful decision? Was it to make his mark and say, I'm the president, this is me?
I like that, because he is also, he has a book called The Art of the Deal.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Okay, so in his mind, everything is either a win or a loss.
Yeah.
It's all business related in his mind. So as far as he was concerned, right, I've been elected president. Very, very, I must say, it was a very, very close race.
Yeah, it was.
There was, mass protests at his election. I believe there's over 1 million people marched a couple of days later after his inauguration. So I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think it was, for him trying to get an early win straight away, get his voters, his base happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he wasn't surprised that, when he came up with that order, because this is what he promised during the election campaign, didn't he?
He did.
He actually said Muslim ban.
Yes,
he did.
That he will ban all Muslims coming to America. So, if, in other words, he fulfilled his promise, although it didn't go through at the time because of the courts.
I mean, how many times, I forget, how many times was it not approved to go through it? It was.
I mean, on the March the 2nd, I mean, there was a second executive order.
Yeah.
This was for 6 mostly Muslim countries.
Yeah.
But that was only for 90 days. He left out Iraq. I agree with you. It was taken to the courts and they They said, well, you can't do this. It's inhumane. I mean, I actually remember the chaos at the airports and the news stories about all these people.
I remember.
American citizens.
Yes.
Forget everybody else. American citizens treated like criminals. It was shocking.
It was quite bizarre.
And it just went on and on. You know what really made me? I took a step back when I was doing the research for the show. In the run up to the election for 2016 for Trump, he went on and on about how Obama was constantly issuing executive orders. Well, believe me, wow. Yeah. I mean, pot calling kettle black.
Absolutely. He's outdone him, hasn't he?
He's outdone it. I mean, for example, March 28th, Donald Trump signed the Energy Independence Executive Order undoing Obama's climate control measures. I mean, this was probably out. I mean, obviously, being Muslims as well, we're gonna feel the impact of the initial decision.
Of course.
But I mean, from a human point of view, and a world citizen point of view, America, the largest democracy in the world, the leader of the free world, going back on a climate change deal.
Yeah.
I mean, that's given a green light to everybody else. Think, okay, well, we're not gonna. Well, if they're not gonna do it, and they're a big polluter, we shouldn't do it. I mean, I was depressed when this happened.
Well, it was depressing news, but doesn't it say a huge amount about the man himself when he listen to his views about climate change? He'll open the window and say it's cold, and he'll say climate change doesn't exist. The proof is out there.
Yeah.
This is his mentality.
Yeah.
But it just says so much about the man to reverse a decision like that. And amongst other things, I mean, we're going to get into that as we go through. But I don't know. I mean, the world has certainly become in my opinion, a scarier place since Donald Trump has come into power.
Definitely it has. And, it's no surprise that last many years in America, there has been anti-immigration sentiments. And all these wars that America has waged, in the Middle East and Afghanistan and all this, people have felt... the media propaganda has, fueled this anti-Muslim and anti-Islam sentiments within the, society at large, and that's why people voted for him.
Yeah.
Some of the things that he said, totally, a few years ago would have been totally unacceptable. What he said about not just about immigrants and not just about Muslims and Islam, things he said about disabled people and about women and so on.
Well, he mocked a disabled individual, didn't he? Yeah. I mean, at the podium.
That's right.
But no, you're right. I mean, he's done so many.
Yeah, it's kind of shocking that it's nowadays. The time that, as you said, the world has become more scary. These kind of things, becoming more and more acceptable.
Yeah, they are. But why is that? Why has it become more acceptable? What's your opinion? I mean,
I think we live in a world certainly which has become more ignorant. I think the people are using social media in a different way than perhaps it was intended. Or you could say that people feel more empowered by using social media, and therefore, because they feel more empowered, they feel, I'm going to voice my opinion because I can do this. And so these people were already there. They've just had a chance now to vocalize or type how they feel. I think I don't think it was all Trump. I think this has been there for a long time.
Yeah.
Trump just happens to be the face of this. I mean, you have to think about Steve Bannon here now. You have to think of Breitbart. You have to think of Britain First, EDL. All these, and it's not just them. You have to think of Pegada in Italy, I believe it is, and then you got all these other countries where this has been simmering for a long, long time, and social media. And I don't blame social media itself as an entity or as a tool. I think this was just going to happen. But I'll tell you what's interesting. On April the 4th, there was a chemical weapons attack on Khan Sheikhoun allegedly by the Syrian government, which killed more than 80 civilians. Now, I want you to think about this. Obama, when he was in power, mentioned the red lines. He said, if the chemical weapons get used, that's a red line, we will take action. So on April the 4th, that happened. And on April the 7th, 3 days later, President Trump ordered a missile strike on a Syrian airfield after that attack. What does that say to you about the difference between the mentality of the two men in this particular way? I felt Obama didn't, he wasn't overtly looking to have a war with anybody.
Right.
Or to be seen to be.
Okay.
Although the stats say, he was, responsible, his government was certainly responsible for the most, most missiles, UAVs.
That's right.
Right? And Trump is very much overt. He will say what he thinks, whether he's tweeting that at 4 o'clock in the morning, whether he's saying it to a microphone, or whether he's speaking to somebody face to face. So in one way, you could say is you see what you get with Trump.
Okay.
There's no ambiguity.
True.
He's just going to say, right, this is how I feel. He's going against his own team. He's fired people.
Left, right, and
centre.
Yeah.
People in key positions. He's under investigation by the FBI. Well, they're saying it's not. Well, his whole team is anyway.
That's right.
He's given positions of power to his daughter, his son-in-law. It's just weird.
But is that a good thing? What you see is what you get. Is that a good thing in terms of
a leader?
Yeah. No, well, no, not in terms of a leader, but in terms of the opposition. Is it good for them that what you see is what you get?
Yeah, I think for the opposition it is.
Yeah.
It gives them a chance to then build something without thinking, what's going to happen next? I mean, to be fair, though, and I don't know if you agree with me, I don't think America has an opposition at the moment. I think the Democrat Party...
It's weak.
It's so weak.
It is weak.
You got Bernie Sanders, the only guy who's is trying to speak out against Trump. Hillary Clinton's gone into hiding.
Yeah.
It's just, and you know what? And we were just talking about overt, weren't we? Okay. On May the 10th, Donald Trump shared classified information about ISIS plot with the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and Ambassador Sergei Kislyak in the Oval Office. I mean, this guy. I mean, I recall this actually when it happened, and I was thinking to myself, wow, this guy is, which other US president would do this? I mean, he's got such an affection for Putin and Russia.
Absolutely.
It just feels strange because you don't normally have that.
You wouldn't have that
for the American and Russian relations.
No.
And so we've had this where we've got him banning things left, right, and centre, and like Muslims, and then coming out the climate Paris deal, and cozying up to Russia, firing people left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
But I tell you what was really interesting. I recorded doing the show with Brother Hamid actually. May the 20th, Donald Trump, his first foreign trip was to Saudi Arabia. And if you recall, after 24 hours of being there, he signed that $350 billion deal. Why? It goes back to what I believe you said, which is about the winning mentality.
The impact.
Jobs.
Yeah, because first and foremost, he's a businessman, right? Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
And that's all he's known his life. Although, with the help of his father, I think, gave him a small loan of, I don't know,
$1 million.
$1 million.
Yeah, small
loan. I built this all myself with a small loan of $1 million.
Yeah.
And what we could all build with $1 million. Anyway, but no, I was reading something earlier today about how what he's done has not been surprising. Shocking, but not surprising, given the man he is. But there's some stuff that's gone under the radar. I mean, he's, with regards to economic issues, people have said he's governed a lot more like a hard right conservative than a freewheeling populist, which is what he aims to be, in my opinion. But as a candidate, people have said that in terms of the economy, as a businessman, he's had a positive effect. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, actually, the foundations for that, my opinion on that, actually, the foundations for that were built by Obama. Obama took it in 2008.
Yeah.
Just like the rest of the world.
Yeah.
A failing economy, jobs being left, right, and centre. Companies, it was like subprime mortgages, companies
That's right.
closing, etc., etc., etc. He came in at such a difficult time, and he made some really, really tough decisions. So,
he did.
Over the course of his presidency, those 2 terms, obviously it takes time for those things to change. I do agree he would have had an effect, Trump, coming from the business world, but I believe genuinely he has taken credit for a lot of things that Obama did.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you can't deny the fact that the numbers were up.
Yeah, the numbers were up, and obviously someone like him is going to claim that it's down to him because it happened while he was in office. But it's a long process, right, to make those changes. So you're right. I think Obama's got a lot to do with that.
Yeah, I mean... and then we move forward. I mean, I think that was a great, for Trump anyway. As a businessman, I agree with you. I mean, that is a win for him.
Yeah.
As long as he can go to the American public and say, look, more jobs, more jobs. I'm protecting you. America first mantra continuously.
Sure.
The base will stay strong. And to be fair, although there are polls in the States saying that Obama and I think it's Clinton are high in the polls for the admiration.
Yeah.
I don't think his base is strong. His base is strong, and to that end,
his approval rating, lowest, I think.
Yeah, his approval rating is low. Absolutely,
very low.
But
so
we
it's
all know about
contrasting.
polls.
Sorry,
We all know about polls.
We all know about polls. That's true.
But also, I think is doing damage to America, as America was always seen as leader of the free world.
Yes, I agree.
But a lot of people, even the friends of America, European countries, they don't see America as leader of the free world anymore, because he's closed in. He's inward looking, not outward looking. So America in that sense has lost, and America was built on immigration.
That's right.
All the
absolutely
intelligent people going to America and living the dream, but it's not going to happen anymore. So I think in the long term, he's doing damage to America, and not just America, he's doing damage to the whole of the free world, as you say.
I agree. I tell you what, one story that really, really struck me in his presidency, and that was something that happened on August the 12th. It was the Unite the Right march in Charlottesville.
Oh, yeah.
And if you recall, there was a car that was rammed into protesters, killing one and injuring 19. And on the same day, now I want everybody to, I'm sure our listeners are abreast of this anyway, every single time there's been a terror attack around the world, Trump has quickly tweeted about it.
Very quickly.
Okay. And on this occasion, I mean, he came out, and I recall him at a press conference, and he said, and I quote, "There is blame on both sides," unquote. I mean, and that started, obviously, that provoked widespread, spread condemnation. I mean, that was, for me, one of the moments where I thought, are we living in a parallel universe? I mean, or not? Or, I mean, what is going on?
Right. Because it was so different to his other tweets, right, in terms of the other terrorist attacks. I mean, it was a terrorist attack.
But how can he say a person driving a car, mowing protesters down, and say, both sides to blame?
Yes.
Yeah. That doesn't. It was illogical.
It was illogical. Absolutely, it was.
Yeah, I think he was widely condemned for that.
He was.
Yeah, he was. Definitely.
Just picking up on the point Brother Muzaffar made about the immigration, which is a huge thing for Trump, right? And the fact that he hates this diversity visa, which is, as far as my memory serves, I think it's 50,000 Americans a year who wouldn't normally get a green card for the US from other parts of the world will get access to the US as to visit and to eventually stay. So he wants to ditch that diversity visa. But, I mean, that's a huge decision. That's a huge thing, because you're effectively taking away the right of individuals who wouldn't normally have the ability to apply for a US visa to then have that taken away. And you're basically closing off America to a vast part of the world. All right, it's only 50,000 people a year, but it's still people that have come in and added value to the economy and added value to services. But he wants to close the doors.
It's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
And then you've got that DACA thing as well, right?
The Dreamers.
Yes.
So they are the children who have come over or born in America without papers.
Yes.
And he's essentially said, right, well, we're not going to continue with this anymore.
Exactly.
But that's quite sad, really.
Mm.
And a wealthy nation like America would have these children who would then become adults and documented.
Yes.
And then work and paying taxes and help the economy.
Right.
Learn the language, potentially be entrepreneurs or whatever it may be, doctors, nurses, etc. And you just think, wow.
It's bizarre.
I find it illogical. The comparison between him and Obama in some of these situations, it's just I was thinking, this person, he's so inept at what he's doing, and he's affecting so many people. And it's not. And my friend in America often says to me, "Oh, does Trump affect you guys in Britain?" I'm like, yes. It's not just us; it's the whole world.
Of course, it is.
Yes,
it is. Absolutely. And then there's that term which they hate, chain migration. I hate that term. Chain migration, where an individual who is in the US then wants to bring over his sister or his husband or whatever and bring people over. And then they tweeted, the White House tweeted this this diagram which showed how many people one person could bring in through chain migration. And that's something else they want to wipe out. So they just want to close the doors, or he wants to close the doors.
But again, that's scaremongering. If I showed you, if I showed the people immediately think, oh, well, we can't have that.
No.
I mean, one person, suddenly now there's 200 of these people coming into our country. And it's like, well, hold on a minute. It's like Brother Muzaffar just said, America's built, its foundations is built on immigration.
Yeah.
And it's just, and, talking about the differences, the other major story of Trump's presidency, and which was certainly going to 2018, is going to be the way he's dealt with North Korea. Yeah. And on September the 19th, and I quote, he said that he addressed this is shocking. He addressed the United Nations, vowing to totally destroy North Korea if it threatens the US. I mean, he just basically said, right, we're going to kill all these innocent people when he's got an issue with Kim Jong-un. I mean, I was like, wow, is this happening at the United Nations?
I think he's a war criminal in the making. Strong words. But
Strong words.
Strong words.
I just want to remind the listeners, Brother Amr.
Well, he's so
just there.
he's so unpredictable. You
is.
can expect anything from
You
him.
can.
You know?
You can.
And it is quite scary, and it's quite shocking that we can have something like this, that America can attack another country with nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
It's only a small, tiny country.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it is scary.
Yeah.
And we haven't even touched on and I'm conscious of time, we haven't even touched on the fact that his declaration that Jerusalem is the capital of Israel.
We're getting to that. I just want to say, the only time the two presidents met, Barack Obama and Donald Trump, Obama told Donald Trump about the North Koreans' weapons programs. And I recall at the time, Trump tweeted, "It won't happen." And look at where we are right now. I mean, he's called him Little Rocket Man, short and fat, and all these things. And some of his hawks are already talking about having a preventative war. I can't help but feel in 2018 that the North Korea issue may actually be something. I mean, I'm certainly worried about it. We've got somebody in the White House quite willingly ready to, just blow up another state.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. We are conscious of time. So December the 6th. This has affected everybody, certainly our community and people around the world. Donald Trump officially recognised Jerusalem as Israel's capital, announcing plans to move the U.S. embassy there. What were your thoughts when you heard that, brother?
Well, that is again a shocking decision, and as a Muslim, especially for us, this is shocking that Jerusalem is our second Qibla, as to say, one of the second most holiest place for us. Not just for us, is for the Christians, and everybody, whole countries except Israel accepted that this is disputed, and this should be part of the final negotiation between the Israelis and Palestinians. But all of a sudden, this guy comes and he says, this is now officially recognizes this as, and good thing I think is that United Nations kind of stood up to him, and 128 countries I think said that no, we don't accept it.
Yeah,
this is the decision is not valid. It is illegal, and it will stay. It will stay as illegal. But what shocks me is that where are our Muslim countries? What are we doing, or what are the Muslim countries are doing to combat this and say that look, this is illegally occupied. It's is part of the Palestinian land. It was occupied, or it was captured by Israel after 1967.
Yeah.
So this should be, it shouldn't happen, but unfortunately it is. But I don't know what to say, to be honest. It's kind of shocking, and it is as Muslim countries, 54 Muslim countries, embarrassing that they're not able to stand up.
It is, to be honest. I think for me that is the bigger issue here, is how quiet the vast majority of the Muslim countries have been on this issue. For me, that's the bigger issue.
It sort of leaves you speechless, doesn't it, at the fact that they can happily go in and spend billions and billions and billions of dollars on American military equipment.
Yeah.
Yet they won't stand up. I mean, obviously quite a few abstained and some voted against for the UN after Nikki Haley infamously threatening the rest of the nations that we were going to clip your wings if you don't do this, etc., etc. So again, I see for me, I think in 2018 the things to be worried about would be that Middle East, definitely Jerusalem, definitely Syria, Iran, and North Korea. And also, I think climate change is going to be a big thing next year. And I think last but not least, China. I think Trump's version of America first is by demonizing the Chinese and going at them. So I think we're going to see. Something happening there with that, which is going to be interesting and scary in equal measure.
Yeah, it would be.
I know we're headed into a vote. I just hope. Over the New Year break, Donald Trump realizes that he is the leader of the whole free world, and that what he's doing doesn't affect just his own country, but the people around him, especially his allies, not least Britain, who was looking forward to having a special relationship financially with them after they're going. But it doesn't look like he's too happy about that.
No.
After Theresa May rebuked him publicly about the tweets he retweeted for Britain First.
Yeah. Exactly.
So just to wrap this up, so. Any last thoughts on Trump?
To be honest, watch this space. There's plenty more material for Let's Talk. I think that's
his Twitter feed.
Or his Twitter feed, exactly.
Yeah, brother Hamid. So please stay tuned.
Stay tuned to Salaam Radio after this short ad break.
I've just come out of Penny Appeal's orphans accommodation. Brothers and sisters, they've got a kitchen where they're getting fresh food cooked and served to them. They've got foster mothers looking after them. These are how orphans should be looked after. Sponsor an orphan for pennies a day. Call 03000 11 11 11 or visit the website pennyappeal.org. Remember, small change, big difference.
Feel like some great tasting chicken tonight? Great meal deals, wraps, burgers and sides. We've got it all at Chicken Palace. Call and collect at 302 Lincoln Road on 01733 702 447 or 8 Park Road on 01733 343750. Chicken Palace, open 11 a.m. till late.
Do you have lots of clutter at home or in the office that needs to be kept but nowhere to keep it? Ivet Self-Storage offers a secure, affordable, clean and dry home for your belongings. We have security systems in place which are monitored 24 hours a day, ensuring that your items are safe. With a simple monthly payment, Ivet Self-Storage provides secure and tailored facilities to meet your specific requirements, whether short or long term. We offer the best prices and longest opening hours in Peterborough. For more information, please call on 01733 306 456 or visit us at Ivet Way, Westwood.
Do you like the idea of being a radio presenter? Have you got a great idea for a show? Why not get in touch with us? We are always looking for enthusiastic, committed and professional individuals to join our team of volunteer presenters. Send us an email to info@salamradio.co.uk and we'll be in touch. You could be on air sooner than you think.
First kalima at-tayyibah, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah.
On the authority of Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, who reported that the Messenger of Allah, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, "He who believes in Allah and the last day should either speak good or remain silent."
हज़रत अबू हुरैरा रज़ी अल्लाह ताला अन्हु से रवायत है, नबी करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने फरमाया, जो शख्स अल्लाह और यौम आखिरत पर ईमान रखता है वो या तो भलाई की बात कहे वरना खामोश रहे.
With him are the keys of the unseen, the treasures that none knoweth but he. He knoweth whatever there is on the earth and in the sea. Not a leaf doth fall but with his knowledge. There is not a grain in the darkness or depths of the earth, nor anything fresh or dry, green or withered, but it is inscribed in a record clear to those who can read.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. On the authority of Abu Amr, and he is also given as Abu Amrah, Sufyan ibn Abdullah, may Allah be pleased with him, who said, I said, O Messenger of Allah, tell me something about Islam, which I can ask of no one but you. He said, say, I believe in Allah, and thereafter be upright. It was related by Muslim.
You are very special. There's no one just like you. Created by the Master.
Broadcasting 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. This is Salaam Radio.
Assalamu alaikum, welcome back to Let's Talk with me, Akil Khalil, and brother Muzaffar and brother Amir.
You forgot our names then, didn't you?
I did, yeah, I had a mind blank. I was thinking of something else at the moment. Welcome back to the show. We're in the middle of a review of 2017. First part of the show, we discussed America and Donald Trump and his presidency. And this half of the show, we're going to be talking about the terror attacks that happened in 2017. There were so many. I mean, as I was doing my research, my total came to 36 recorded terror attacks up until the 21st of December, which was, really sad. The question that I'm going to pose to our presenters or hosts with me tonight, and your listeners as well, is is this the new norm?
Yeah.
It feels so normal every time we put the news on. whether it's in the United Kingdom, whether it's happening in any other European Western country, or moreover, especially if it's happening in the Middle East, subcontinent continent, you just put the news on and you'll hear somebody on one of our news stations saying another terror attack, another bomb's been exploded, another suicide attack, and it just feels normal.
No, yeah, that's a strong term, isn't it? And I know where you're coming from, but when you say it feels normal, I'm guessing what you mean by that. If we just drill down, you're saying that you turn on the TV and seeing that frequency of reporting of terrorist attacks is normal. But obviously, to the victims, it's anything but.
Absolutely.
Obviously, right?
Yeah,
just to clarify on that point.
Yeah. I mean, we're accustomed to it now.
Yeah.
We're so, we feel so, I certainly on a personal level anyway, I feel desanitized watching and seeing victims, seeing bodies, in smithereens, and seeing people running away, screaming, shocking, and then each and every single time when the news agency turns up to a major terror attack, or you hear similar stories. We were just going about our business.
When you said 37,
36.
36. What do you mean? But I think it's a lot more than 36.
Recorded, brother.
What in
world news? Yeah, I mean, obviously, I believe there was more. Across international news, there was 36 recorded terror attacks around the world up until the 21st.
Is that just stories that the media have picked up?
Yeah,
that's my point.
Recorded.
Okay,
right. But there are a lot more. I think I was reading somewhere. Just in Pakistan, there were about over 300 terrorist attacks in Pakistan.
Wow.
And then if you look, if you count how many attacks were, in Afghanistan and in Iraq and so on, I think it's a lot more.
It must. It has to be. It has to be.
Yeah.
You mentioned being desanitized by. Is this a? Let me pose this theory, if you like to. It's not even a theory. It's a situation. But you mentioned people being desanitized. Is it a fair statement? Let me just play devil's advocate here to say that those in the West watching Western media are desanitized by reporting of terrorist attacks taking place in Muslim countries where Muslims are victims, as opposed, obviously, to home-based attacks, i.e., Borough Market, Westminster Bridge, Manchester, etc. I mean, that's an obvious statement to make. I mean, I'm not saying it's not a sweeping step. I'm not saying all Western news viewers are not are desanitized by what they see happening abroad. But it seems to me that, obviously, for obvious reasons, there's a far more greater focus and level of reporting on homegrown terror attacks than there is on, obviously, attacks abroad. But even more so, attacks in France have, I think, equal reporting as an attack in London would do. But attacks where the Shia mosque in, I forget where it happened. I think, was it Syria? It was a Shia mosque?
In Kabul.
In Kabul, was it? Yeah. Where somebody died, just got a passing reference. That was the day that the Oxford Circus false alarm terrorist attack happened, which got more coverage than, I forget how many people were killed in that masjid. There were
110 or something.
It was 110. The same day. So my point is, I think there's skewed focus, and is it because purely down to the media reporting, or is it because people are desanitized by what's happening abroad?
I think the incident you are talking about is in Egypt, wasn't it?
It was Egypt.
Over
it was
300.
Egypt.
Over 300.
Over 300
Coptic church.
That was it.
No, even the mosque. In the mosque.
It was a mosque.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, I think you got a good point there. Actually, I think a lot of people will agree with you. I mean, I think there is a bias in the reporting, but then some people would argue, well, of course we're going to be up in arms about what's happening more closer to home.
Of course,
yeah.
It's natural, but
it is natural. But having said that,
a life is a life. It should be. I agree with you. It should be judged on equal measure. On my personal view is I'm desanitized across the board. It's happening too frequently for my, for
okay, I have to pick up on something you said, because you said closer to home.
Yeah.
But a terrorist attack in America will have as much equal reporting as a homegrown attack. Now, we've all seen it, right? It's plastered all over the news.
That's because obviously, personal opinion again. I think that the media is so biased towards, like you said, having a scapegoat or having someone to point the finger at, saying, well, this is happening because of this, and we need to do this to stop it from happening. Thus, this is why you got reasons like Trump saying we're going to bring in ban people from coming into our countries because we're importing this terror into this country.
Yeah.
So it's easy to point the finger, saying, "Oh, look, there's the bully in the room," because it's easy to identify. But because it's happening over there, well, I mean, I take on board your point.
So let me summarise into a question. are people desanitized, or desensitized as well, actually, by attacks on Muslims, where Muslims are by far the greater number of victims because of media reporting?
I fundamentally agree with that.
Okay.
I think that's a very important point. What I was going to say was that, unfortunately, most of the time when terror attack happen anywhere, whether it's in this country or in America, it's mostly Muslims. You know. But what media doesn't tell us or show us is that it's mostly victims of terrorism. It's been Muslims.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Hundreds of thousands of Muslims have been, just in Pakistan over the last 10 years or so, 15 years. More than 70,000 people have been killed.
Staggering number.
Yeah.
Staggering
and
number.
then if you go, Iraq and other countries, it's a lot more. But we're not being told that it is just Muslims come under attack. But we're not told that Muslims are also victims of this terrorism.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, if you just go back to January, then. On January the 20th, the day when the President Trump was inaugurated, in Australia there was a car which ploughed into pedestrians in central Melbourne, killing 6 and injuring 27. And then on January the 29th, there was an attack on a mosque in Quebec which killed 6 and injured 17. It was the shooter was a French-Canadian student.
Yeah.
I mean, that sort of like set the benchmark for what followed.
Yeah.
I mean, quickly after that, we had a suicide attack in a shrine of a Sufi saint, Lal Shahbaz Qalandar, in Pakistan. That killed 72, and Islamic State claimed responsibility. I think what I want to definitely stress here is a lot of the terror attacks around the world, IS took responsibility for.
Yeah.
They definitely did. I mean, where we are. So that's February 16. The same day, there's a car bomb in Baghdad that killed 48.
Yeah.
And that was the third attack in 3 days, which was claimed by Islamic State. And it goes on and on and on. I mean, March 22nd, for example, and we were going to talk about it, weren't we? So we had the
attacker, Khalid Masood, 52-year-old. He was a convert to Islam, and he basically mowed down, ordinary member of public on Westminster Bridge at around about 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah,
and 5 people were killed and over 50 were injured in that attack. But what interesting thing about terror attacks, we're going to talk about individual terror attacks in UK, but most of these guys who carried out these terror attacks, they were known to the security forces. Yeah. This guy, Khalid Mahmood, has been under the radar of the security forces. And unfortunately, they were able to go out and carry out these, attacks and kill innocent people.
Do you think then, brother, because they were known by the security forces, do you think we've got a lack of resources in our security force? Because if they knew about him, the logical question would say, well, how come they couldn't prevent it? And I would obviously think, well, there's 2 things going to happen. They're either going to have to arrest this person or keep a tag on him or wherever it may be. But I mean, can we afford it as a nation?
Well, we should.
But it's easy to say. They talk about having 5,000 people or however many it is on this register.
Didn't we have that report recently which says that these attacks could have been prevented, or especially the Manchester attack?
There was a report. I forget who commissioned the report. But you're right.
Though by the police, though they said, well, no, that's it's impossible to do. I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say to you is, you can be you might be a suspect for a crime that you may potentially commit, but if all the signs are continuously there for years and years and years that you're not going to do it, most often than not, people are going to be starting to just relax a little bit on this suspicion, and lo and behold, you're going to carry out a lone wolf attack.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think it's difficult.
But didn't Jeremy Corbyn say that? It's, lack of resources as, maybe one of the reasons is that they were not, prevented. These attacks were not prevented because, the police or the security forces don't have enough resources. And we know all the cuts which have happened in the last few years.
It could be one of the reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was a sad day for us. Certainly for the UK. I believe it was the first time, wasn't it, when somebody used the car to do that?
Yes, that was the first time.
Yeah, and obviously security arrangements and things like that have changed, and certainly restrictions around Westminster since that attack. And I recall at the time, and then just thinking, I hope this doesn't continue. I mean, it was for so many years we didn't have a terror attack in the UK up until that moment.
Right.
Yeah.
And the security services were doing well. They'd foiled so many different potential attacks. And now we've got this guy who went on and did that.
Yeah.
And then as time obviously moved forward, on April the 2nd, there was another attack in Pakistan that left 20 dead. And so on and so forth. I mean, we carry on. And actually, for our listeners, actually, I don't know if you're referring to this, April the 9th, there was 2 Egyptian Coptic churches.
Yes.
One in Tanta, one in Alexandria, attacked by a suicide bomber, leaving 44 dead. And then on the same day, a suicide car bomb went off in Mogadishu, Somalia. That killed 17. Al-Shabaab took responsibility for that. And then, 6 days later, there was a suicide bomb that went off in Syria, and it killed 126, including 70 children.
Yeah.
It just goes on and on. I mean, April the 20th, we had the now very, very famous, and sad terrorist attack that happened on Champs-Élysées, in Paris, where a police officer was killed and 2 injured.
Yep.
Do you recall that?
I would do,
And
yes.
I agree with you what you were saying at the beginning.
Yeah.
Once this happened, you saw so many countries around the world with their important buildings, monuments, sites, etc., with the French flag.
Yeah.
Can you remember?
Yeah.
So I take that on board because I didn't see a French flag or an Afghan flag the day afterwards when the Taliban did an attack in Mazar-e-Sharif, killing more than 100.
No, that's the point.
I didn't see that happening. And then it goes on and on and on. It's heartbreaking to see this. I don't like to agree with Brother Amir that often, listeners. But I do take on his board. I don't know if Brother Hamid was here right now. He'd say the same, actually. There does feel like that there's a bias towards one side rather than the other, and it seems so obvious now.
Yeah.
When you put the research all together, you see these things, and up until where we get to May the 22nd.
Yeah, absolutely. Which was, of course, the. Every terrorist attack is sad and horrific. This was the Manchester Arena, the Ariana Grande concert, where 22 were killed, or 23, including the bomber. And this was the nail bomb, which went off on the 22nd of May. And this was a kind of a milestone in terms of UK terror attacks because a lot changed. A lot changed after this. But the horrific individual's name was Salman Abedi, and apparently, after initial suspicions of a terrorist network, police later said they believed the bomber had largely acted alone, but others had been aware of his plans. Goes back to the point you were saying: if you are a lone wolf, how are you going to prevent those attacks? How are you going to do that? If he's known to be in a terrorist network and the police have intel on that, you'd expect them to do something about it. But if he was, crazy and did this on his own accord, then how do you stop it from happening?
Exactly. And I think it's important as well to say that bombs are indiscriminate. I mean, the way that this was reported at the time, there was like, the Muslims are this and that, and there was Muslim parents and children who went to this Ariana Grande concert.
Yes. This was a nail bomb.
It didn't have. It wasn't missile guided nails. It wasn't choosing which ethnicity it wanted to go and kill.
No.
So many people were affected, and it was heartening to see Manchester unite and stand up together and say, you're not in our name. I mean that was really, really poignant for me.
It was poignant, and that's one of the reasons I said a lot changed after this particular attack. And then they had the concert. I can't remember how much later afterwards they had the concert to kind of commemorate the loss of lives. But what else has happened, sadly, on the opposite side, is the likes of the ridiculous and foolish Tommy Robinson and others, Katie Hopkins and the like, used it as a catalyst to further their Muslim rhetoric. And they just used... This was, for me, was a turning point. Obviously the other attacks also, they used it, but this one, because of the poignancy of it and the fact that children were killed as well at a concert, they just jumped on this horrible bandwagon to spew their ridiculous bile and hatred.
Spread more Islamophobia.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
they did.
First of all, I can't believe anybody can say to me and I certainly wouldn't believe this, okay?
Yeah.
That the bomber in his mind was thinking, right, I'm going to kill as many children as I possibly can, because that's how it was being reported.
It was being reported.
He went in,
but
this.
how do we know what he was thinking?
Exactly, but the point is, when you want to kill people, you don't think, right, well, I'm going to do this because he went just to a concert where there's going to be he just wanted maximum impact.
Yes, that's true.
And so there was like, oh, well, the Muslims are against the children, and it was. Like you said, it unearthed something really, really, even now, really, it's certainly mothballed. It's, in an environment where people don't feel safe. To give you an example, there was a TV program that was on, My Week as a Muslim?
Yes.
And in that program,
yeah,
the Muslim ladies' daughters, when they were talking about the Manchester bombing, it also happened at the time when this lady was doing her experiment.
That's right. I saw that.
And they were living in fear.
Yeah.
But there was nothing different about them. And somebody else living in this country who isn't Muslim, feeling the same thing. Anxiety, safety for others, safety for the neighbor.
Yeah.
All these things are going through their mind because guess what? We're human too.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. And then, you know what? But after that happened, and it mothballed, and we were just seeing right-wing newspapers and all these tweets and all these things happening and, all this reaction, I was completely dumbfounded and completely I felt completely lifeless, I suppose, at the time when I saw this.
Yeah.
June the 3rd, where we had the terrorist attack on Borough Market.
Yeah.
3 men who drove a van, again, the MO,
Yeah.
so similar, into protesters, and then they got out and they killed 7 and wounded 48 until they were shot by British police.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one of them was on the Jihadi Next Door programme.
That's right. Channel 4. Yeah.
Channel 4, right?
Yeah.
So you could, we talk about Khalid Masood and you talk about Salaam Abedi, but this guy was on TV. He was on TV. Okay. How many more of these people are out there that are like this?
Yeah.
And I'm saying this as a proud UK citizen. These people frighten me just as the next man.
And it's not just the anxiety and fear that they cause in every single person who lives in this country, whether you're British or not. Obviously, the fear and anxiety is inherently caused by these terror attacks. And it was a point in that show, My Week as a Muslim, when it was announced, because they were filming when that happened, right? I remember. And when it was announced, they were both sat on the sofa, this woman who was dressed as a Muslim, whatever that's supposed to look like, but that's another issue.
Brother Hamid will be back for that.
And they were both sat on the sofa watching the news report, and both of them were shedding tears.
Yeah.
Because, the fact is, as you say, Brother Akil,
as humans,
we're humans, right? And we're all humans, and it's a natural response, especially in your hometown.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And that's why we say that terrorism have no religion.
No religion.
I agree with you. Yeah, I totally agree with you.
That's a good point.
This is why it's really, really important. This is really, really important for British Muslims. In fact, all people who live in this country to be active citizens.
Yeah.
If we don't talk to each other, we don't talk to our neighbours, we don't, in schools, we don't tackle this in schools and in the workplace and things like that, there's always going to be us and them.
Yeah.
Although we might, you don't feel it's us and them, but it feels like the other way around.
Yeah. But I think what was heartening was that how people got together in Manchester.
Yeah.
Yes.
Although these, as you mentioned, the far right, Islamophobes that try their best to divide the communities.
Yeah.
But actually people came together and they said, we are not going to be divided by, these racists or, Islamophobes.
Yeah.
We got come together at time of, this difficult time for the communities in Manchester. People got together and this was
They did. And it was a very strong show of unity, actually. I think I remember very soon after the event, you had an imam taking the podium, you had the mayor of Manchester, Andy Burnham, and, a vicar from the Christian faith. I think you had somebody from Rabbi.
Yeah.
So it was an excellent display of unity.
What touched me was that if you remember that imam who helped this Jewish lady.
Yes.
The elderly lady who, was sitting on the chair and he was there talking to her and then he helped her to,
That's right.
That was very touching and that's how it should be.
It should be.
Community, you come together, it's a time of difficulty.
Yeah. It was an amazing display of unity, and it totally outweighed, you're right, it totally outweighed the anti-Muslim hatred and the Islamophobic hatred.
It did, but then after the attack that happened in London, Sadiq Khan, the great Sadiq Khan, the mayor of London, the amount of abuse this man gets, honestly, if you go through his Twitter profile, it doesn't matter if he's tweeting about his dog, whether he's tweeting about a terror attack, whatever it may be, this man, for some reason, is constantly being vilified, albeit by some of the regular people that the aforementioned people that you I feel for him. I mean, there's nothing he can do right. I mean, at the time when the London attack happened, he came out and he did his speech, and I thought that was great. I mean, you had the minute silence, and I can't recall. It's somewhere in central London anyway. There's loads of people who got together, and I thought, we can't continue going like this, and you just I felt, you know, the UK doesn't feel like it used to anymore.
No.
You know, although Peter is not a big city in comparison to Birmingham, Manchester, London, obviously, but you know, it just felt like this can happen anywhere. Anywhere you go, you could be. It's the testimonies you get from the people who at the time who witnessed this about the horror, about running in different directions, and you know, trying to, you know. But then you hear the humanity, people trying to help each other, and you know, and all these sort of things. I feel we are certainly at a stage now, especially in the UK now, where I just feel anything's possible now. You know,
nothing surprises me really.
And
anymore.
this is why I posed that question about: is this the new norm? Because it doesn't. Like you said. I mean, we could go home tonight. I mean, I know my stats went up to 21st of December. In the last 72 hours, there's been more terror attacks. Recorded terror attacks, may I add? And it just, you put the news on, it's just another day until it happens in your city.
Well, you're too young to probably remember this, but me and Brother Mazaf will probably remember when the IRA attacks were happening. Very frequent, a lot of consistency, and that felt like the norm. Right? I mean, I was a young nipper then. I'm not that old.
I remember that.
But,
I dispute that.
But no, it's a very valid point you make, Brother Akil. I think it is, sadly, the new norm. And I think it's only going to get worse.
Which is a sad state of affairs.
Yeah, but, you know, going back to that, it was 22nd of March terror attack on Westminster Bridge. You remember that picture? We was used a Muslim sister wearing a hijab.
Yeah.
They use that picture that, look, a woman is walking and, you know, that she's not concerned, you know, she doesn't care, she's talking on the phone. True. And actually the true story was different. She was ringing home to tell her family that she's okay.
Yeah.
And she was actually, if you see, you know,
if you zoom in.
the other pictures came out and she was actually in tears.
She was.
But the media used it as, you know, that she doesn't care because she's a Muslim and she doesn't care about these people who are injured. And
that image spread like anything, didn't it?
Well, it would, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That's what happens. People want to believe what they want to believe,
Yes.
number one.
Yeah.
And two, it's like, oh, okay, well, it's these guys again.
Yeah.
Let's reinforce the narrative.
Yeah.
But I think it was in November, wasn't it, when the Russians were finally singled out, saying it was them who changed the image to look like she was wearing a hijab.
Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, I know we've been talking about, you know, Pakistan and Iraq and Afghanistan and the UK. I think it's important to add, on August 17th, there was a terror attack on Las Ramblas in Barcelona, where a van rammed into a crowd, killing 16 and injuring 120.
Yes.
So, I mean, 2017 has definitely been... I mean, there's been wide-ranging different types of attacks, but the vehicle seems to be one which has been used quite a lot, certainly in the Western world.
Yeah.
Obviously, Australia at the beginning of the year. And I can tell you, I've working in the security industry myself. Some of the events and expos that I've been to this year, the technology, which is going to be sold to the mass market and et cetera, you know, it's really interesting to try and prevent vehicle mounted, pavement-mounted attacks by vehicles, whatever it may be.
I'm in my mind, I'm thinking of like pop-up, what do you call them, bollards and things like this. But obviously far more advanced.
But also, I mean, not just that. I mean, you'll see but barriers and bollards that can actually take out a van or a lorry before. I mean, when I say take it out, I mean, crush it, completely crush it.
Yeah.
I mean, really, really frightening things. But I think, you know, we're living in that state now. It almost feels like, you know, everywhere you go, you know, there's a camera, you know, everywhere, or something's being tracked, or there's some sort of security provision which is monitoring you. And yet these people are still getting through.
Yeah.
Because, you know, no matter what technology they're out there is, somebody wants to do something. They're going to do it.
Yeah.
And, you know, and as a Muslim, and I don't know if you agree with me on this, but we don't, you know, can't see what ideology these guys are following, where they're getting all this from, because it doesn't represent Islam.
Well, no.
This is just a sick mentality of
Of course.
people who just want to kill.
Yeah.
You know, no religion, you know, ever can, you know, justify this, or anybody, you know, as a human being. How can you just go and kill people, you know? People walking on, you know, on the streets, you know, going their business, daily life, and you go and you mount down, you know, innocent people. This is just sick mentality, and you know, it's difficult to prevent this these kind of terror attacks. How do you know?
Exactly.
You know, I hope that this technology comes up, you know, sooner rather than later to prevent these. But at the moment, as it is, it's very difficult to prevent these.
Yeah, and I think as a community as well, I mean, it's easy to people from the outside to turn around and say to us, you know, oh, well, these guys, you know, they sit in their mosque and, you know, things like that. Guess what? We're just normal people. Our imams are normal people. We live normal lives, and we're just going around practicing our religion in a peaceful manner, living as UK citizens within this society with you and as your neighbours, as your doctors, as your pharmacists, accountants, you know, taxi drivers, or wherever it may be. We are just as much as a victim as you are. And the only way we're going to fight with the back on this is if we work together, united as citizens, and you know, because this is affecting all of us. So I hope, you know, going into 2018, we do not see this again. Please stay tuned. We've got another advert.
Stay tuned to Salaam Radio after this short ad break.
Are you looking for a fun-loving and professional nursery? Then call Bright Bambini Montessori on Peterborough 306565. Teaching EYFS curriculum and Ofsted approved. We also offer Forest School and Arabic. Limited free funded places available. Call 01733 306565 or email info@bbmc.uk. Bright Bambini Montessori.
Sadly, millions of orphans living in the poorest countries lack the necessary support for a healthy childhood. These children have to endure lives of hardship without the basic necessities that would help them to grow, to learn, to live. Let's show them that we do care. Let's brighten up their future. Call 0161 225 0225 or visit humanappeal.org.uk.
Do you like the idea of being a radio presenter? Have you got a great idea for a show? Why not get in touch with us? We are always looking for enthusiastic, committed and professional individuals to join our team of volunteer presenters. Send us an email to info@salamradio.co.uk and we'll be in touch. You could be on air sooner than you think.
Third world and developing countries are home to some of the most vulnerable children on the planet. Malnutrition, severe lack of medical aid and access to clean water are just some of the horrific challenges faced by orphans across Africa and Asia. Children of Adam, a Peterborough charity, need your help to bring aid to these orphans for just £25 a month. To sponsor an orphan or assist with other projects, please call 0300 321 0032 or visit www.childrenofadam.net.
Need a great place to chill out? Look no further than The Lounge for quality food and drinks at a great price. Try our varied menu: pasta, seafood, burgers, grills, salad, soup, rice and sides. Also hot and cold drinks, milkshakes and mocktails. Leave room for our exquisite desserts. The Lounge, 417 Lincoln Road, Peterborough. Call 01733 709 306 to order for delivery. The Lounge, friendly service with a great atmosphere.
Do you own a restaurant or takeaway? Cater Fair is an expert supplier of new and used commercial catering equipment. Visit caterfair.co.uk for quality equipment on sale at the lowest prices, or call us on 01733 310 115 or visit us at 11 Royce Road, Fengate, Peterborough.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Bismillah. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من سام رمضان إيمانا واحتسابا غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه. That whoever fasts Ramadan with faith seeking reward, his previous sins will be forgiven for him. Subhanallah.
This is Salaam Radio, Peterborough's Muslim community radio. Broadcasting on 106.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Let's Talk. I just want to remind our Friday Night Prime listeners, the show isn't on tonight, obviously, but I do have the anchor here with me on Let's Talk. Brother Amir Sulaiman is in the building.
Assalamu
I've
alaikum.
also got brother, the expert in the room, brother Muzaffar here as well.
No, the original Let's Talk host.
The original Let's Talk, the Don of Let's Talk is here. The person who is AWOL is Brother Hamid on his holidays, probably in Skegness. So we're back.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with Skegness.
I didn't say there was.
I lived there.
Shout out to everybody in Skegness. I hope you had a great Christmas. So yeah, we're going through a review of 2017, the news and what's happened. I just want to remind our listeners our landline, we're having technical issues, so you won't be able to call in tonight, but you can text or WhatsApp the show on 07745 278 978. To that end, we've had a text message here from one of our listeners, Dr. Shabina. She said this was in relation to our first topic about Donald Trump and his presidency so far. And she comments, in such dire times when Trump calls for Jerusalem to become the capital of Israel, why are the West turning a blatant, I emphasize, blind eye to the atrocities committed by the Friends of America? When the Afghans were fighting the Russians, the Taliban were brought in by the US to combat the Russians. Now I believe that Malala, despite the admiration I have for her, has been used as a puppet for fuel, the Western political ego, and I justify their war on terror. I think I can understand the point.
I can understand that.
Jazakallah khair for your comment. I really, really appreciate that. Listeners around the world, if you want to get involved, anything we've been discussing, whether it's Trump, whether it's terror attacks, whatever it may be, anything that's affected you, your neighbour, your friend, wherever it may be in 2017, please get in touch. You can email the studio on info@salamradio.co.uk, or you can text us on 07745 278 978. So I want to welcome back our Inspire FM listeners as well. Great to have everybody with us. I can't believe the hour of the show's already gone, brothers.
It's crazy.
And we're moving into the third section of the show. So for the next half an hour or so, we're going to be talking about Brexit. Massive news for us here as Brits, and also some of the major news events, etc., and the stories that happened in 2017. But I mean, Brexit, first of all, I never believed it was going to happen.
Okay.
If you want to be honest with you. And I was
when you woke up to the referendum result, you were like, whoa.
I was shocked. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I can't be the only one who wasn't shocked.
I know.
Well,
it was narrow, wasn't it?
Well, of course it was. It was so narrow, but just not narrow enough for a recount, apparently. Anyway, so on February the 1st, British MPs voted in favour of the European Union bill allowing the government to begin Brexit. I mean, that was I remember some of the stories. You can remember the headlines. I mean, EU went out.
That's right.
And things like that. We are free, freedom. All these things are plastered across all of our
everywhere
news. And it was just like, wow, what's happened here?
Yeah.
I just couldn't believe it. I mean, and what's happened since then?
Well, where do we start? We have to do it chronologically. Yeah. It's crazy.
It is crazy. I don't know. I'll tell you what I'll do before we go to what happened next after that is, on March the 28th, Britain introduced the first new pound coin in 30 years. It had a secret security feature inside to stop counterfeiting.
What is that secret security feature?
If Brother Hamid was here, I'd want to know. There's a reason why I believe. I'm just joking. But all jokes aside, actually, it's a pretty cool coin.
Yeah.
I like it. It's a pretty cool coin. And there was a whole thing about getting the first serial numbers, wasn't it? They're worth so much money, etc.
That's right. Well, didn't they do that with the £5 notes as well?
They did as well, yeah. I mean, I can be honest with you, I looked, but I didn't get anything. Anyway, I'm sure some of our listeners as well. So what happened on March the 29th was the UK Prime Minister, Theresa May, she signed Article 50 and sent that to the EU, and she formally triggered Brexit. All I'm going to say to that is, it's been an absolute shambles ever since.
Well, it has.
Yeah.
It really has.
All those people who campaigned Vote Leave, who were talking about £350 million a week, and we're not going to have to pay a penny when we leave, and all these sort of things, and we're going to be a great nation again, all these sort of things. Half of them have just disappeared into the background.
Yep.
And she's got people, I feel, certainly stabbing her in the back in her own party. But I mean, she, to be fair to her, up until that date, so the 29th of March, I think she, as a leader, I think she was doing well. She was strong. Although she was robotic, she was...
Well, considering she was a Remainer.
Yes, I know. Yeah. That's what I mean. She was doing really, 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 really well. Everything was going, no matter what she was doing, people were like, okay, she's strong. We can believe in her.
Yeah.
So because we believe in her, Brexit should be a success.
Right.
Okay. And and everything that was coming out, we're gonna have our deal with them.
Yeah.
We just need to agree the divorce fee or no fee. As what was it? Boris Johnson said they can go and whistle or something.
Yeah. Something like that.
Something like
and
that.
his normal statesman-like manner.
We are exactly, and we're on the 29th of December, and where are we? £40 billion.
It could be more.
It could be 40. They're saying 46 billion probably. Yeah. But what happened to not costing us a penny?
Well, no. What happened to all the wine that we've bought and all those buildings we've got in Europe? They're worth money. That's what I was told from the Leave campaign.
Yeah,
we've got all this money sitting there. We're responsible for the foundations of X, Y, and Z. All this money's there. All these billions are there.
Right.
Yeah, us as taxpayers are now have to pull over £46 billion.
Yeah, it's beyond belief, to be honest. You couldn't make it up. I
mean, I look at Michael Gove, I look at Boris Johnson, I look at Theresa May, I look at Philip Hammond, I look at David Davis, and I think to myself, Mötley Crüe.
Well, let's not forget our very own Stuart Jackson is helping David Davis in his work.
No longer part of. He's no longer Conservative leader here, is he? Or
no, of course not.
He's not an MP, but he's
still a Tory
working for Brexit office.
What's a Tory?
Yeah, but just thought we local aspect of the story, Good old Jackson.
But it's not just that 46 billion, is it? It could cost this country a lot more. It depends on what kind of economic deal we have with the EU. What future we.
Let me pull you back a little bit on that then. Okay, so let's just go to April the 18th. So from when Article 50 was triggered, and Theresa May, robotic as she was at the top, as she still is, was doing well. In most people's eyes, in the polls, she was really, really high. She was leading well, leading from the front, and saying the right things and things like that. Up until she went on a walking holiday with her husband, if you recall.
I do remember.
Went on we do this week show weekly. Anyway, she went on a walking holiday with him, and then without informing her cabinet. On the 18th of April, she announced a snap election.
Yes.
And the purpose of the snap election, for the benefit of our listeners, was to essentially give her a much more... a mandate. A bigger mandate. So when she goes to the EU, she was like, right, I've got all these people behind me. I know it was a close vote, but now I've had this snap election, and they're all behind me now.
Yeah.
And because of this is what I want. And this is what we're going to do.
And she was leading by 20%.
That's right.
In the opinion polls, wasn't she?
Yeah.
And she thought that she's going to get a lot bigger majority.
Yeah. And that didn't go to plan, did it?
Yeah. I mean, maybe we should get her on the phone.
Well, she came.
She
came out weaker than anyone would have thought, especially her.
I tell you what wasn't surprising was how, although the Tories won, and they had a lot more votes, Labour did well. Jeremy Corbyn did really, really well. But basing this on Theresa May, you are right. The rug was truly pulled from beneath her feet.
Yeah, let's not. I mean, in the interest of impartiality, let's put it out there. I mean, they won fair and square. They got more votes, but Labour did pick up a lot of traction in that snap election. A lot.
But they lost seats though.
They lost seats. They lost seats.
And they have to rely on this DUP and now, and
they're an interesting bunch, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, we'll give the date on that actually. So on June the 8th, the British general election results was a hung parliament. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And the Conservative Party lost their majority. I mean, that was the biggest problem she had. And then she signed a deal with the DUP.
Yeah.
In the last hour, albeit, and promised them £1.5 billion pounds of our money.
Yes.
So that they would agree when it came to a close votes to get whatever bill they may have passed through. I mean, I just couldn't believe it. I mean, where did this money come from? Well, suddenly, what about our hospitals? What about our schools?
Exactly.
What about our roads? All these things. Just by the by, we can have all that money to get the DUP to say yes, Prime Minister.
Exactly.
Yeah, but to be fair with the DUP, they obviously worked in their interest, and
they played a good game.
Yeah, and this money will be used, for hospitals and the other projects in Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland did need the money, but
they did. Yeah.
What was kind of you can say cynical in a sense that this money was only given after the Conservatives lost their majority in Parliament, and now they all of a sudden they got the money. Before that there was no money, but now money is there because they want to obviously have the 12, 13 seats.
Yes.
That, members of Parliament that DUP have to support them in the Parliament. So money will be used. I'm sure will be used for good projects in Northern Ireland. But the way it was done, it was it wasn't morally you know.
I think Brother Muzaffar has just articulated the word bribe.
Well, he did it in such a subtle way, which has been destroyed by your word bribe.
Brother Hamid would have done it differently. I respect that. Brother Muzaffar, absolutely brilliant. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Absolutely right.
Well, what's your thoughts on this then?
Well, I mean, my thoughts on DUP as a bunch of individuals, I mean, they've got some rather skewed and antiquated views on what policies should look like. I'm not going to go into them now, to be honest. But, yeah, I mean, just the way she was scrabbling around trying to get majority was laughable, to be honest. And the result is not ideal for her party, without question. Let's not forget, this is not an ideal scenario for them, right? And but they've got majority. And in terms of Brexit, where we are now, I mean, the thing is, there's so many variables in this thing, right? You've got hard Brexit, soft Brexit, and no one really knows what it's going to look like at the end. Come 29th of March 2019, when we finally leave, if that actually does happen, I mean, it might be extended. You never know. Weird, stranger things have happened. I mean, what's it going to look like for us? I mean, is there still going to be free movement? Or is it going to be you need a visa to go to any other country? And will people need a visa to come to us? All that stuff is still up in the air. No one really knows.
But don't you think with the £46 billion that we've agreed to pay for the divorce fee, we're heading towards a softer Brexit then? Because they're talking about the issue about the island, no border. And, you know, she's had to, I think up until the moment when we leave, we're still underneath the ECJ. There's quite a lot of things still happening. So, I mean, the hardliners wanted to just essentially draw a line in the sand and leave.
But that was never going to happen.
Of course it wasn't going to happen. No. But it seems like some of the concessions that have been made are so entrenched with the future, our future, that it was never going to be a hard Brexit. And perhaps as a hard Brexiteer, the reality is, look, we're going to have to pay a lot of money to leave. There's going to be some legacy issues that are going to remain. Yeah, you know, it's a difficult situation. I think 2018. I mean, where are we now? So we've agreed the divorce bill. Now we're going to go towards trade talks.
Yes.
All right. So that was the key, which is, well, of course they're going to want to trade with us. We're a service nation.
Of course we are.
We don't export any. We don't manufacture anything.
No.
I mean, obviously Land Rovers and all these sort of things, but it's not enough. I guess what I'm trying to say. We sell services. Brother, you work in the city.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen throughout. You know, where are we now? Since looking for the date here, right? So since June the 19th, when the Brexit negotiations were triggered. Since then, I personally noticed quite a few banks leaving the city.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's been exaggerated. It has been exaggerated. It's nowhere near as bad as people think. But there are a lot of serious talks happening about, I won't name the banks, but some high street names that are thinking of moving out of, you know, Canary Wharf and the city into other realms, shall we say? But it's happening, but not to the level that is being reported. To be honest, that's all I'll say on the subject.
Okay, I mean, I think it's people often. I'm sure our listeners are very well.
Well, can I just give the contrary to that? To give an example, so Deutsche Bank, for example, are building. Goldman Sachs. Beg your pardon. Goldman Sachs are building a ridiculously huge HQ in London as we speak, and it's going to be massive, right in the heart of the city, and it's going to house like 2,000 employees. So, just to give an example, right? So Brexit's happening, but they're building this massive building in the heart of the city as we speak.
Yeah, I mean, I think in 2008 when we had the economic crash, and the bankers, quite rightly in some cases, were blamed for things. I think there was a lot of hysteria as well.
Yeah,
I think it's easy to forget the amount of money that goes into the Treasury's coffers from the city.
Oh, yes.
You know, and I'll tell you something, if the city just evaporated, the resources we have for our public services would diminish rapidly.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and like I said, you know, we do see this. I think 2018 for me, what I would like to see happen in 2018 in regards to Brexit is I want people from all the political parties to be involved in the negotiations. That's what I want to see happen.
Okay.
Because I don't believe, from what I've seen so far, that there's enough emphasis on the wider picture. David Davis seems to be going in for short-term goals. He'll go in there. Remember the first press conference when he sat across Juncker? He had no paperwork in front of him, and his European counterparts are there with all their documents and things like that, and he's just sitting there smiling. You know, and you just think, it just, I suppose, I'm not saying he wasn't prepared, but he certainly looked it from where I could see, and we're not privy to everything in the room.
Yeah, but I think it's not just the government who kind of doesn't know what they want from this, you know, these negotiations, or it's Labour Party doesn't have a very clear, you know, stance to say this is what we want. You know, you can pick, you know, different leaders within Labour Party saying different things.
Yeah, that's true.
So, you know, I think as a country, we were not ready for this. But all of a sudden it happened. And people didn't understand when they voted for Brexit, what is the end result, how will we be affected. I think most of the people who voted for, you know, to leave is because people didn't like all these people coming from, you know, Europe, especially from the Eastern European countries. And people just voted because, you know, immigrants and all this. And they didn't foresee the effect it's going to have on, you know, our country.
And they didn't understand what Brexit
didn't understand.
was. Yeah.
And that's, I think, partly it's fault of people who were campaigning to remain within Europe. They didn't inform, or they didn't use their homework to, you know, make people aware of what are the consequences of this. We know people who, you know, were campaigning for leave, you know, they came up with these figures, which were, you know, ridiculous, and, you know, a lie, to be honest. You know, where is that 350 million which was going to come to the National Health Service, you know, every week? Was it every week?
Every week.
Yeah.
And then Nigel Farage admitted the day after the referendum, admitted that that
you remember that poster that Nigel Farage stood in front of, you know, that all these immigrants are coming to, you know, UK, and as a country we were not ready. You know, not just our leaders, as general public, we were not aware of what we're getting into.
No.
And you know, now I think people are realizing that it's more complicated than we thought it would be.
It's complex.
Yeah, it's very complex.
It's very complex.
Yeah.
Can I just quote something very quickly from a BBC article, which they posed the question, could MPs block an EU exit? This is very interesting. So they say, and I'm quoting, could the necessary legislation pass the Commons, given that a lot of MPs in the current Parliament, all SNP and Lib Dems, nearly all Labour and many Conservatives, were in favour of staying? The referendum result is not legally binding.
Correct.
Parliament still has to pass the laws that will get Britain out of the 28-nation bloc, starting with the repeal of the 1972 European Communities Act. The withdrawal agreement also has to be ratified by Parliament, the House of Lords, and/or the Commons could vote against ratification, according to a House of Commons library report. So in theory,
it can be stopped.
They could block the UK's EU exit, but it's in practice seen as very unlikely given the result of the referendum.
What I will say to that, brother, and it's quite simple.
Yeah.
In the current climate that we live in,
yeah,
you only have to see what's happened since the vote.
True.
We spoke about, you know, hate crime and all these sort of things, and it was to do with religion previously.
Yeah.
Now we're talking to do with completely with the ethnicity here.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, I'm not saying everybody, a lot of people who use voices seem to be so loud, voted because of immigration.
Yes.
And all they can see now is all these people out, and we're going to go back to a place in history and have Britain run in the way it was before.
Right.
And if that was to happen, what you've just said there, I genuinely believe there will be mass protests.
There would be. There would be.
Absolutely mass protests. And, you know, if you think we live in fear now.
Well, it undermines the referendum completely, doesn't it?
Completely.
It completely throws it out the window. But
wow.
But it's interesting.
It was very interesting.
We talked, top of the show, we said nothing surprises us anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
If something like that did happen, it's not impossible.
No, I agree with you, but yeah, well, what can I say?
Anyway.
I mean, what I will add to that then is in 2018, I just want the people who we've elected to a degree, who are representing us in Europe, to get their
act together,
get their ducks in a row.
Well said.
And you know, get us the best deal possible that we can get. Because at the moment, we are, you know, for all intents and purposes, we seem to be on the back foot every single time.
Yeah.
You know, and you know that's what happened. And you know, and I hope, you know, if our listeners have got anything they want to add with the Brexit, you know, scenario, you know, please text us on the show on 07745 278 978. I'm going to move it forward now. There was some really sad. There was a really a sad event that happened in 2017. Touched many people's hearts. It was a very sad sight. It was extremely shocking and distressing when it broke on the news. I travel a lot with what I do. I'm often in London, and the Grenfell Tower disaster that happened on June the 14th for me would be, aside from the terror attacks, I'll be taking this into 2018 as one of the major events of that happened in the United Kingdom. So to our listeners around the world, and there was a fire in Grenfell Tower block in London, England. It killed 79 people and it injured 37. I mean, the images of this blazing inferno on the news, you just couldn't believe. It was like something out of a movie scene.
It was. You
were seeing these people running out of the building, fire services getting there, and then as you're watching this inferno, which was going for what was it, 2 or 3 days? It was a good couple of days.
It was
billowing out smoke continuously. And you saw humanity at its worst and humanity at its best. But, when you look at that, it made you realise how precious life is.
Right.
But, it really, it was sobering.
Did it, to me, I'll tell you the thing I took away from it. And let me know if you agree, brothers, it just highlighted the them and us aspect of this country. It just, for me, it was, the haves and the have-nots. The have-nots, thank you. The haves and have-nots. That, for me, it just highlighted that, especially in the aftermath of the fire. And the other thing, which is horrific, and I still can't comprehend and get my head around it, is why do we not know how many people actually died in that building? I mean, names and all this. Why do we not know that? Does that not shock you?
Well, I mean, to add to that is, that was June the 14th. The day afterwards, June the 15th, Scotland Yard launched a criminal inquiry, and British Prime Minister Theresa May announced a public inquiry a day after that fire.
Yeah,
I agree with you. I mean, we get to know every single person, an exact figure.
Yeah,
but I tell you what, I mean, all this happened. So we're looking at it from a humanitarian point of view. It was shocking.
Yeah,
I mean, you saw scenes like I described. It was something out of a film.
Yeah,
But I recall Theresa May in an emergency session of Parliament saying, 3 weeks. It will take 3 weeks to house all these people.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened.
No.
29th of December, it has not happened. And she's denied a member of the Grenfell residents group to be on the inquiry panel.
That's right. Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Surely it's relevant to have that.
And then also you had what was came about was obviously the material used on the buildings.
Yep.
Every single, I mean, it was within a week. All tested across the UK. So many tower blocks.
Oh, the cladding.
The cladding. The cladding is so unsafe.
What was shocking about this cladding was that they, I think, saved about £6,000.
It was nothing.
They could have got a much better fire-resistant cladding if they had given another 6,000. And what's sad is that this is one of the richest borough in UK.
That's right.
Oh yeah,
and the point that you raised about the gulf or the difference between have
and have-nots.
No, have-nots.
Yeah.
So I think if you look back, what we started with the election of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And rise of far right.
Yeah.
In not just in this country, in France and in Germany. Is this, I think this system that we have, last 60, 70, 80 years has created, the gap between the rich and the poor is widening.
Yeah.
And, the poor people, people right at the bottom of the, ladder, they some kind of resentment, and they blame the politicians, and they think that these the politicians haven't done anything for them, and that's why they find these scapegoats.
Yes,
and the immigrants have been one of the scapegoats. And that's why we've got the people, ordinary, working class people voting for Brexit and voting. And if you look at the base of the support for Donald Trump, it's normal working class people.
It is,
and this system is failing. That's what I believe. This, the richer getting richer and richer, and poor, they're not getting anywhere. And that's why feeling resentment against. The politician, and then they think that immigrants are taking our jobs. So, we need to fix this system. Our politicians and our, leaders, they need to fix the politicians, and you need to give hope to, ordinary working class people. Otherwise, this gulf between communities will be widened, and which is not good for the future.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
I agree. I think education is really important.
Yeah.
I think every single adult in this country, is incumbent upon them to become an active citizen.
Yeah.
It's easy to just sit there and somebody says to you, oh, well, I'm going to do a vote, I'm not going to vote. Not voting now is having devastating effects.
Yeah.
On whatever we believe in. Any final thoughts on this, brother?
Well, no, I just for me, just going back to that as you eloquently put it, Brother Muzaffar, the widening gap between the rich and the poor, and this just came to fruition at this whole Grenfell disaster because of there was no sprinklers in the building, and then you have the fact that Theresa May said she was going to rehouse, as you said, within 3 weeks. But I mean, where was the support for those victims other than the charities that were all on the scene? There were so many charities on the scene. Even local brothers from Peterborough went to Grenfell and did a lot of work. Take them away, what was there for the victims?
Nothing.
There was nothing. So my final thoughts on it are probably the saddest story, close to home, of the year for me.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. We're going to head towards another advert now. Thank you for that, brothers. Please stay tuned, listeners. We'll be back shortly after these ad breaks, which pay for the station.
Stay tuned to Salaam Radio after this short ad break.
I've just come out of Penny Appeal's orphans accommodation. Brothers and sisters, they've got a kitchen where they're getting fresh food cooked and served to them. They've got foster mothers looking after them. These are how orphans should be looked after. Sponsor an orphan for pennies a day. Call 03000 11 11 11 or visit the website pennyappeal.org. Remember, small change, big difference.
Feel like some great tasting chicken tonight? Great meal deals, wraps, burgers and sides. We've got it all at Chicken Palace. Call and collect at 302 Lincoln Road on 01733 702 447 or 8 Park Road on 01733 343750. Chicken Palace, open 11 a.m. till late.
Do you have lots of clutter at home or in the office that needs to be kept but nowhere to keep it? Ivet Self-Storage offers a secure, affordable, clean and dry home for your belongings. We have security systems in place which are monitored 24 hours a day, ensuring that your items are safe. With a simple monthly payment, Ivet Self-Storage provides secure and tailored facilities to meet your specific requirements, whether short or long term. We offer the best prices and longest opening hours in Peterborough. For more information, please call on 01733 306 456 or visit us at Ivet Way, Westwood.
Do you like the idea of being a radio presenter? Have you got a great idea for a show? Why not get in touch with us? We are always looking for enthusiastic, committed and professional individuals to join our team of volunteer presenters. Send us an email to info@salamradio.co.uk and we'll be in touch. You could be on air sooner than you think.
The messenger of God, peace be upon him, said, "A generous person is close to God, close to paradise, close to people, and far from hell. However, a miserly person is far from God, far from paradise, far from people, but close to hell. God loves more an ignorant man who is generous than a worshipper who is miserly."
Narrated by Abu Huraira in the collection of Tirmidhi.
A man came to the Prophet, peace be upon him, and asked, "One fights for booty, one for the sake of reputation, and one to show off his bravery. Which of them is fighting for God's cause?" The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "Only the one who fights so that God's guidance may prevail, fights in God's cause."
Narrated by Abu Musa in the collections of Bukhari and Muslim.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. وبسم الله قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم الحياء شعبة من الإيمان. The modesty is a branch of faith. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته وبسم الله قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم دع ما يريبك إلى ما لا يريبك. That leave that which puts you in doubt, that which does not put you in doubt.
This is Salaam Radio, Peterborough's Muslim community radio. Broadcasting on 106.2 FM and online.
Assalamu alaikum, welcome back to Let's Talk, our weekly current affairs show. This part of the show, I'm glad to welcome the one and only Brother Faisal.
Hey.
That
was we didn't get an intro like that, did we?
No, Brother Muzaffar did.
You don't do that.
You didn't get that.
No, I don't do that. I'm going to do that from now on.
For anyone who just tuned into the show, you would normally be listening to Friday Night Prime, but that hasn't happened because we're doing a review of the news for 2017. So far, we've covered Trump, the United States, 2017 terror attacks around the world and the UK. We've spoken in depth about Brexit, UK news, and now for the last half of the show, we're going to be talking about technology, all the best gadgets of the year, any new inventions. Our Brother Faisal, I'm sure, is going to go through the cyber attacks and any advice that he's got for us. Joe blogs all around the world because he's a bit of a techie. He is, this guy, and I'm sure he's going to whittle through them with ourselves.
I'm actually not a techie.
I don't believe him. You should see his LinkedIn page, brothers and sisters.
It's all made up stuff.
Listeners, if there was a gadget, whatever it may have been this year, within reason, that you felt was great or is a new innovation that's really changed your life, please get in touch. You can text the show on 07745 278 978. I'm sure we'd be happy to hear from you, especially Brother Faisal. If you've got an error with it, he might be able to assist you with that.
I'm not sure.
While he's on the show, I'm told he won't charge anything.
Oh, we're turning this into a live tech support line.
That was the plan.
We'll have people queued up with their laptops outside, I think, in a minute.
I've got a telephone line that needs fixing. I just want to put that out. Yeah. Anyway, for me, brother, thanks for joining us.
Right.
For me, it's been a turbulent year for technology. We've seen some really, really cool gadgets come out. I mean, Nintendo, for example, brought out the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
Great product. I think for me, that's probably the best.
Have you got one?
I haven't got one.
Okay.
I know people who have.
Yeah, I've heard good things.
Great things, actually. I mean, they've taken their sweet time about it, but I think it's a great device and a lot of people's gadget of the year.
Yeah, so just for our listeners, this is, and correct me if I'm wrong, and you will, I know you will, this is a handheld video game, which also is a games console for your TV, right?
It's a handheld console.
Okay.
Not game. I did correct you, didn't I?
Yeah, but you can continue playing as soon as you get home.
Correct.
You
Yeah,
continue
you're absolutely
playing.
right.
Okay.
And up to 4 players can play it.
Right.
And you're right. Yeah, I mean, it's great. It's a great piece of kit. I mean, they're aiming at everybody. Nintendo do that anyway. They don't go for I wouldn't necessarily. It's not niche.
No.
But I suppose we should.
Usually isn't. I mean, when Nintendo came up with their the handheld Wii, that's it. I forgot the name nearly.
Yeah.
And I remember we had it at home, my sister boy, and the whole family would take part in it. Whereas other games consoles are very specialist gaming machines. To be honest, I wasn't really going to cover games consoles in this. I mean, some of the things that grab the headlines are things like artificial intelligence,
definitely,
quantum computers, brain implants. All these kind of things have grabbed the headlines, but they don't really have any effect on our daily lives at the moment.
But they will, right?
They will do.
Yeah,
they will do. I mean,
before you get to that, brother, there's one other thing I want to add. This was the year of virtual reality. In tech, we had a lot of new things that came out with VR. I think for 2018, I think that might be just sticking with the gaming theme up before you go on that. Is I think that gaming is going to bring VR to everything. I mean, now they're trying to do it for different other aspects, especially when you go to these expos. I think 2018 is going to be a refinement, I guess, for VR and gaming. So I mean, if you've got one, something like that, you got for Eid or Christmas or whatever, call in the show. Let us know. I think Brother Amr wants to buy me one after the show. I was plugging for that.
First, you've got to find reality before you can have virtual reality.
VR has been around for a while, but it's just recently, with these new devices, with consumer gaming consoles and PCs, I think it will take off in this coming year. I mean, we've seen a few devices, but I mean, we haven't seen a lot of games developed for them.
So my experience of VR, right, so far is. The headsets for your phones, right? Okay. I won't name them, but you know which ones I mean. And then you've got the purpose-built VR headset. I think I can name it Oculus Rift.
Correct, yeah.
Which is apparently the leading
Correct.
VR.
Well, it's the most expensive and the best one in terms of its tech.
Yeah. But then I think you've seen stuff, haven't you?
I mean, I'm more interested in what augmented reality is going to bring.
Augmented reality.
So, but brother, AR's been around for ages. It still hasn't. For some reason, we see the cool stuff, don't we? We see all the games, and you know, if you go to London, for example, you can use an app. You can be in central London. You can use this app and walk 360 degrees. It'll show you directions. It'll show you restaurants, all this sort of stuff.
It's on your phone, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the things like Google had their glasses that didn't really take off.
No.
But until devices like that take off, Microsoft have got their HoloLens. And I think that will take off in the commercial market. So, for example, in medical sector, you've got doctors operating on certain things, whether it's humans or animals or whatever, and then you've got engineers that are working on devices. I mean, you can imagine a day where I'm an engineer on a remote site, and you're wearing a device, and you're asking me what should I do next, and I'm just circling, and you can see that I've circled around that little thing over there. And then you can go and then try that. Rather than me saying, oh, do you know that thing on the top right-hand corner?
Yeah.
What colour is that?
Right.
So basically, I'll see what you're seeing.
Okay.
And you will see any markers that I make, and they'll be right in front of you.
So AR hasn't really come into its own yet, has it?
No.
The full capabilities of AR, based on what you're saying, because I agree with you. The stuff Google have a great Qibla app, right? Google have a great AR Qibla app, which is great for finding the Qibla. But that's like basic AR. But the stuff you're talking about, it's not there. We're not there yet, are we?
No, I mean it is. The technology is
Technology's
there. What Microsoft have. Marketed those devices for commercial use at £4,000 a device. So
seems reasonable.
Not
for commercial, no, for commercial it is, right?
Use is
it is reasonable.
You can imagine hospital consultants wearing these headsets. Rather than remotely somebody's viewing a video feed, they're actually seeing exactly what the person's viewing.
It's fascinating.
It's amazing.
It's brilliant.
Amazing.
So for you then, brother, I mean, what stuck out in terms of new innovations for the year then?
For me, simple things like, for example, wireless charging. I mean, have you got a mobile which has got wireless charging?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have at the moment, but I mean, I can imagine my next handset having no charging cables or anything like that. And you just walk into imagine you're in an airport and you're struggling with your battery life. I mean, nowadays I'm carrying one of these battery packs.
Yeah,
so
me
I can
too.
just get that extra power when I need it. But just imagine you're just sitting there and you can just put your device down, hoping no one steals it. But it's charging away.
Yeah.
Like we're sitting here and our phones are just charging away because this is a charging pod.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see that stuff coming in 2018, and these devices like the latest iPhones and Samsung and other devices with wireless charging, that's when they'll really come into their own.
Yeah, I agree.
But my understanding is, and again, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, Brother Faisal, but I think the charging speed is not as quick as a cable as it is today.
No, not currently. That's
okay,
right,
but that will get better, they say.
Yeah, I mean, you can imagine sometimes we're sitting in a cafe for a whole 45 minutes.
That's true.
I mean, the phone could just sit there, or you're waiting for a flight, that's 2 hours, you're just sitting there.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the distance will improve as well. There's a charging standard called QI. I don't know.
That's it, QI. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is a standard which Samsung and the latest iPhones are using. So hopefully, I'm hoping in 2018 the battery packs will be obsolete. We won't have to carry them around. Hopefully.
That'll be good.
I mean, interesting. But I'll tell you what I did see. I saw a coffee shop, and all of its tables had charging. There was a layer on top. Whatever device you had, you could charge it.
Yeah,
it's phenomenal. I think you're right. I mean, obviously we need the commercial sector to buy into this to allow us as consumers to use this. I mean, you really have major coffee chains where you can go and charge your phones and all this sort of stuff already. I think that's the next logical step.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen lockers in exhibition centres and even airports, I think, where you can actually pay I don't know, whatever it is, I've never used one, £1 or whatever it is, and for 20 minutes you can leave your phone charging in there. But, the future, I think, is all worktops, they're chargeable.
Yeah.
I mean, just imagine you're standing in the kitchen and your kitchen worktop is charging your phone away, but your phone's actually in your pocket.
That's going to be cool.
That would be
good. Cool.
That's going to be cool.
That would be good.
I mean, also, this year as well was really good with wearing wearables.
Yeah.
So your smartwatches and jackets where you can charge your phone and take calls and all this sort of stuff. So I think you're right. I think this is a continuation, wouldn't it? The wireless charging and the wearable technology. Yeah. It's becoming more affordable. It's becoming more accessible, and it's certainly becoming a lot more advanced. So I think, do you think in the next 5 to 10 years we're going to be as sort of like semi-autonomous?
Yeah, I mean, wearable technology, it will take off in a few years, but the actual usage of it's already here. So we've talked about mobile phones. If you stick with that, for example, you got mobile phone payments. So you can pay for your groceries or whatever. There's no limits. Like on contactless, you got a £30 limit. You can pay using Apple Pay or Google Pay, Android Pay.
Yeah.
And you can pay up to whatever it is, and you're using a mobile phone. And I've recently used it at the London Underground. I didn't have a Oyster card with me. I thought, what am I going to do? Should I buy a ticket? I thought, no, I'll wait till I get there, and I'll just use my phone.
Yeah.
And I just tapped on the thing, and that's it.
It's good.
Through.
That's good. Your phone needs, what is it, NFC, near field communication?
That's right, yeah.
That's what I think most have them now.
Exactly, and you just link your card to it, and then you can just tap on the thing, select your card, and just tap.
Are you using mobile contactless payment?
I've been using that for ages.
Have you?
Yeah. I mean, you can do it from smartwatches as well. Like I said, I mean, for example, you can go to Heathrow Airport and there's your boarding passes on your watch.
That's right.
Just tapping away or whatever it is. It's we like you said. I think this year's definitely been the year where doesn't matter what operating system you were using. Initially, it was Apple. The main operating systems in the world are all using this now. It's a great form. It's certainly more convenient. Don't have to worry about your PIN or anything like that again. And you know what, the other thing as well, it isn't just your card that's registered in your phone. It could be, a PayPal, for example. You don't, all this electronic information, our phones, we used to speak about the smartphone being, so powerful. And now, like you just said, I mean, you can send your doctor your test results from something that is scanned from you. You can send payments, send locations, all kinds of things.
So something I've just done recently, first time I did it was last week. I won't name the brand of the petrol station, but there's a petrol station brand, and there's one in Peterborough where you just pull up, fill up, and go. You don't have to go in.
There's quite a few that do that now.
via PayPal.
Via PayPal. I'm gonna. There's no harm in mentioning it.
Okay,
I don't think. But I know Shell were doing that a while.
Shell is the one I'm talking about.
They were doing it a while ago, but then they
petrol
stopped.
Stations are available.
It was very inconvenient. I've not used it recently.
Oh no, it's better now.
Is it?
It just works.
Okay, because I remember going there using it. I thought this is a headache. So I just by the time you faffed around with it, I thought it'd be quicker for me to just queue up and go in there.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
I've seen it reappear, and there's a couple of other petrol stations.
Esso are doing it.
And a few others. The rest will start doing it. And, I think the future really is with face identification. With Apple Face ID, for example. That was a killer app for the iPhone. It's probably the most expensive phone. Came available. Just a few months ago. But you can imagine not having to type in passwords.
Right.
That's where I see the game changer. So at the moment you're remembering passwords or this, that, and the other. But just imagine your devices know you. And it just logs you in. You sit at your computer at home, it knows that you've appeared there, and it logs you in. And this is already available. So the latest laptops with Windows 10 operating system, they've already got face identification built in.
Okay.
So you can then switch that on. So you can just sit at your device and you're automatically logged in. So just imagine, rather than you having to pull out your phone or your smartwatch, you just turn up at the the gate at the airport or wherever it is, a boarding gate or where you got to present your boarding pass, and it already recognises you.
That is impressive.
Yeah,
that is impressive.
Or at the London Underground because you booked it all in advance.
But all I need is an orange and a shredded wheat on top, and I could log in as Donald Trump.
Well, but would you want to?
No, I probably wouldn't, to be honest.
But face detection systems, they're already in place to authorise payments in China. Especially, and also they use it to track down criminals.
What I will say about this Face ID, etc., is some of the expos that I went to this year. The vendors, the companies were already talking about this being maybe 10 years, 15 years away from no longer having a driving license, no longer having a passport, and just using your retina as your ID for wherever you do in the world. And they were testing this sort of technology, opening doors and closing doors, going through areas, all these sort of things. And I thought about it for a while, and I thought, you know what, we're halfway there in terms of, like you just mentioned, our phones where we're unlocking with our eyes and using our faces and things like that. This is just a consumer device. But you've been able to use your tech to just walk through a barrier and go into another country. The technology is there.
Or
like
access to buildings.
And things like that. And things like that. I think we're not far off that. I think it's a reality that's going to be upon us soon.
It is. I mean, things, especially the amount of computing power that we've got in the cloud. I think I mentioned to you in the past, I used Microsoft's AI technology just to write a simple program.
That's right.
And I put my son's photo through it. It recognized that this is a 4-year-old boy wearing a suit. Phenomenal. I mean, that's a computer recognizing a picture.
That is amazing.
And a computer just sees ones and zeros.
Correct,
so you wouldn't know.
I mean, with the security sector, you see a lot of algorithms we can work out whether it's a human, a car, a motorbike, whether it's raiding, whether it's a spider, all these sorts of things.
Yeah, or if your pets are running around
If they're running around, you can figure out all these sorts of things. It's phenomenal technology. And you can buy it as Joe Blogs.
Yeah.
It's not cheap, may I hasten to add.
Okay.
You mentioned Apple before, brother. So just to give you some numbers, and especially for our listeners, May the 10th, Apple became the first company to be worth more than $800 billion. Staggering amount of money. And then on September the 12th, the aforementioned iPhone 10 costing $999 was unveiled.
Wow.
Or pounds, yeah.
Brilliant. From their point of view, which is, wow, you know, I mean, fantastic. I mean, it is, I will say to you, the best iPhone that they've made. But the funny thing was, they mentioned, they gave the the presentation for the iPhone 8. So everyone's standing there and you're watching and thinking, oh yeah, that looks really good, you know. I could upgrade to this, blah blah. Yeah. And then they did the iPhone 10, and nobody wanted the iPhone 8 anymore. Although obviously it's been marketed so not everybody could buy it anyway. But the technology inside it has been brilliant. That's right, I agree with you. So I think Face ID is something. I think it's a clever bit of technology, although it has its flaws.
Yeah.
Which happened at the Apple presentation.
No, actually, I'm not going to explain that. There is an explanation why that actually happened, and it wasn't a flaw with the phone. It was to do with the setup and the techies behind the scenes, what they did. It was a mistake actually they made. The phone was actually correct.
You haven't got a vested interest with Apple?
No, I don't.
Just want to get that clear. Clear that for our listeners.
I don't. There was a reason why that happened. But in terms of camera technology, I recently saw one of the brothers, he had a Google Pixel 2. And, we're talking about artificial intelligence. And the phone camera, the photograph taken on the phone, the software was able to distinguish which person was standing in front or behind and then focus in. So you know how on a DSLR camera, you just focus in on that particular point.
Yeah.
The software can figure out that this microphone is in front of that, so it put this in focus and blur the background out.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
And I saw him actually then say, okay, let me put me in focus, and I was standing behind him.
Yeah.
Put me in focus and it blurs that, and I thought that is amazing. That's software basically figuring out that this person's face is slightly smaller.
Yeah.
He's standing behind, and let's blur him out.
That is impressive.
Yeah. Next thing I've got on my list is botnet of things. So this is related. You know what botnets are? We heard about this in.
You enjoyed that too much, brother.
No.
If anybody's watching this on YouTube right now,
I
want you to look at Brother Amir and just rewind back a second or two after botnets was mentioned.
But there's a reason.
Well, I'm sure there is, brother.
No, there's a reason, because I know Brother Faisal's doing some work on bots and
stuff.
This just got murky. Those are chat bots.
They're chat bots.
This basically botnets have existed for at least a decade. I mean, as early as 2000, hackers were breaking into computers over the internet and controlling them en masse from centralized systems. Among other things, the hackers used the combined computing power of these botnets. So what they would do is they'd install software onto multiple devices on your computer, my computer, and it would then basically use the computing power.
Yeah.
So, sometimes you think, oh God, my computer's slowed down, what's going on? It could be that you've got a virus on there and your computer's being hijacked, is being used for its computing power for some other purpose.
Okay.
And usually the other purpose is to actually create hits on websites to bring them down. So there were quite a few websites where there's denial of service attacks, they call this.
Oh, yeah.
And it happened to, high profile websites like Twitter and Netflix. These were taken down. But what we're talking about here is devices which are connected to the internet. So Internet of Things is devices like, Wi-Fi bulbs. I don't know if any of you guys have this. I don't have any of this. To be honest with you, I'm a bit cautious on this stuff. So even like, the Amazon's Alexa, Google's Home Mini thing, all these types.
Says the Face ID guy.
I don't have it. I'm actually very careful with this. Even with devices like Alexa, if I was to have one, I'd probably switch it off.
Okay.
You know, when I'm not using it, I'd switch it off because it's constantly listening to your conversation. So from a security point of view,
Yeah.
I'm a bit, careful with that. But in terms of uses, for example, the Amazon Alexa device or Google's Home, whichever one you prefer, you can connect this to your home.
Yeah.
It can control your lights.
That's
so,
right.
When you switch on, when you go into your living room, your lights can automatically switch on to if it knows it's you. It recognizes your voice.
Yeah.
You can get it to read the news to you. So, I mean, I'd personally find this stuff useful. Let's say I'm sitting at the computer, at 7 o'clock in the morning. I can say to it, what's coming up, what appointments do I have coming up? It will read out all the appointments that I've got. If there's any that I have to travel for, I can ask it, how long's the travel time? What's the weather like?
Yeah.
What route should I take? And the next level to this, again, this is already available. You can actually send directions to your car. So as soon as you sit into your car, the directions will automatically be programmed.
So I've got that now. I use that now, and I can't do it. I can't remember the last time I manually entered a sat-nav destination in my car. I send it from my phone. It's just quicker.
But you're doing it from your phone, aren't
From
you?
your phone.
So
Yeah.
the interaction will change. So, for example, currently you're going into your phone, you're typing it in,
That's
and
true.
you're doing send to car.
Yeah.
But just imagine you're interacting with your devices as you would a human being.
Got you.
That's the key thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so potentially these devices, they could be hacked. And you might not even know it. So like your computer's slowing down. You won't necessarily know your little device, your speaker or whatever
True.
is slowing down, as long as it's performing whatever it's doing.
Yeah.
So this is what botnet of things is. And, we recently heard, I can't remember how long ago, it was when the NHS got attacked with the ransomware.
Yeah.
Ransomware has been around for a long time. And
I've been attacked, personally.
Yeah, it's happened to me once. It was years ago. And usually how it happens is either you install something which is not from a genuine source. It might be pirated software. It might be a pirated movie. Or the other way is that the software is not kept up to date. So sometimes with software, it's not programmers deliberately put these things in. Sometimes there's loopholes accidentally created. And what hackers do is they find these loopholes, get into your computer, and then they install this ransomware where, you can't actually do anything unless you pay whatever it is or you get rid of all your...
So what you've just described there is exactly what happened to me. It was TeamViewer, and I hadn't updated it for about a month. And TeamViewer's got regular updates,
That's right, yeah.
And because it was an old version, they found that loophole and they got in.
Yeah, not just TeamViewer, it could happen with any kind of remote access, even with the Windows operating system or any other operating system, it could potentially happen. And my advice, I mean, I always do this, is make sure I've got an up-to-date virus checker.
Yeah.
If there are free ones available, but me personally, I'd rather pay for one. I mean, there's quite a few out there. I probably won't mention my favorites, but there's companies like Symantec, Kaspersky, and McAfee. So they're the top three probably. And you can do your research whichever you prefer. There are free ones, as I said, available. But the key thing is keeping them up to date. Keeping them up to date and making sure you don't install software which you don't know what the source is. And again, with these devices, I personally wouldn't buy one which is some strange make made in China or Russia. I'd go with the main brands personally.
Would you also then widen that to mobile phones, so make sure you uncheck things like unknown sources?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, mobile phones, viruses can easily be installed, especially on Android devices, where it's a little bit more easier for people to, create dodgy apps and upload them to the store. But again, it can happen with iPhones as well. Someone can.
What are you looking forward to most in 2018? If you were to pick one thing.
It probably won't happen in 2018. I mean, I had loads of stuff. I had self-driving cars. I mean, the ideal thing for me would be self-driving cars. I could sit in my car and it drives itself to wherever. I can't be bothered driving anymore. But
are you trying to put taxi drivers out of business?
Employ a chauffeur.
No, it will happen.
Well, taxi drivers are going to go out of business.
Not taxi, but taxi drivers will go out of get out of jobs. But the taxi
all
business,
taxi drivers around the world listening, I just want to point out this is Brother Faisal from Friday Night Prime.
Not just taxi drivers, it will happen with truck drivers, any of those kind of jobs.
I tell you what was cool. Seeing Elon Musk's semi-autonomous that truck. Oh wow, that was phenomenal.
That was impressive.
That was phenomenal. 500,000 miles was it without service or something?
And that was battery powered, wasn't it? Yeah. So I mean, Tesla, vehicles, they already come with onboard hardware for self-driving. It's just not enabled. There's local issues, legal issues and those type of things. But I think that will be the future, and that will change. In terms of jobs, I had this other report, probably won't go into it, we haven't got enough time, but that was talking about 260 billion pounds worth of jobs will be lost to artificial
That's a
intelligence.
staggering number, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think the world is ready for this.
That's the UK.
Yeah. That's the UK?
Yes.
Wow.
So you're talking about jobs like call center jobs, driving, these driving
manufacturing.
Manufacturing. So when we talk about robots and machines and this type of thing, sometimes we have an image of a robot sitting in a car driving people around. It's not that. It's software, basically. Software is going to automate.
Thank you very much for that, brother. We have run out of time. I just want to end with...
you to death, didn't I?
No, you didn't. We were just running out of time. I just want to say thank you very much for everybody joining. Thanks for your comments, all of our listeners as well. I just want to end with this, really. Another year ends. To some people, it seemed horrible and wonderful to others. Whatever is your way of seeing the year that is ending, it is the past now. As we go into 2018, in the world of fake news, hang on to your truth and respect the truth of others. Forgive those that you can, and forgive and seek forgiveness of someone who deserves it. Choose healthy foods, activities and people. Live honestly, truly and with integrity. Choose to be happy and be kind to one another. On behalf of the Salaam Radio team, I'd like to say thank you to all of our listeners from the UK and around the world. And we have some really, really exciting projects and shows developing and around for 2018. So we just want to thank you for all your support for 2017. We hope everybody has a great new year and looking forward to spending more time with yourselves going into next year. And I just want to give a special shout out to Brother Hamid, who's been awesome this year with me on Let's Talk. So Jazakallah khair for your time. Stay safe and be kind to another. Jazakallah khair.
Take care. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Stay tuned to Salaam Radio after this short ad break.
Are you looking for a fun-loving and professional nursery? Then call Bright Bambini Montessori on Peterborough 306565. Teaching EYFS curriculum and Ofsted approved. We also offer Forest School and Arabic. Limited free funded places available. Call 01733 306565 or email info@bbmc.uk. Bright Bambini Montessori.
Sadly, millions of orphans living in the poorest countries lack the necessary support for a healthy childhood. These children have to endure lives of hardship without the basic necessities that would help them to grow, to learn, to live. Let's show them that we do care. Let's brighten up their future. Call 0161 225 0225 or visit humanappeal.org.uk.
Do you like the idea of being a radio presenter? Have you got a great idea for a show? Why not get in touch with us? We are always looking for enthusiastic, committed and professional individuals to join our team of volunteer presenters. Send us an email to info@salamradio.co.uk and we'll be in touch. You could be on